Rags to Riches Chapter 31. Qin Ming had searched most of the rooms on the 88th floor, but still couldn't find Ni Haitang. At this time he phone response. Qin Ming's heart was trembling. After dozens of consecutive calls, Ni Haitang finally answered the phone. Qin Ming hurriedly asked, "And Quat? Haitang, where are you? And Quat? Eh? Young master, it's me. And Quat?" But on the other end of the phone, it was Song Ying's voice. Qin Ming rubbed his eyes and realized that he had been in a hurry and was sweating profusely, so he didn't distinguish whose phone he answered, but it was Song Ying's call. Song Ying said, "And Quat, I've got the 11% of Ni's Sanitary Group's equity transfer contract, and I'm taking a helicopter back to Century Building." "And Quat?" Qin Ming said happily. "And Quat? Good, come directly to the 88th floor later." "And Quat?" Qin Ming hung up the phone and finally saw Ni Zhengming, who was talking to someone on the phone. This time no one came to obstruct him. Qin Ming anxiously ran up, grabbed Ni Zhengming's lapel, and pressed him against the wall with a "And Quat?" Bang. "And Quat?" Qin Ming directly interrogated. "And Quat, where is Haitang? In which room?" "And Quat?" Although Ni Zhengming is quite gentle looking, but his body is quite tall, but directly by Qin Ming to lift up and pressed against the wall, his back pain, also angry, questioned. "And Quat? Who the hell are you?" "And Quat?" Qin Ming loudly questioned. "And Quat? My name is Qin Ming, Haitang's friend. Are you a brother like this? You can use your sister's happiness as a bargaining chip for your own glory and fortune. Have you ever thought about how painful it is for Haitang?" "And Quat?" Ni Zhengming suddenly became furious and punched over. "And Quat? Stinky Silk, I remember you. You were there at the badminton court. Ha! You are quite capable, chasing here. What, secretly in love with my sister? Toad eating swan meat. What do you know about my family? Don't be smug here. You're not capable of saving Haitang, then be a good boy and disappear in her world." "And Quat?" Zap! Qin Ming squeezed Ni Zhengming's fist with one hand, then headbutted it, knocking Ni Zhengming's eyes out. Qin Ming let go of his hand and said, "And Quat, I don't have the power, you will know right away. Say, which room is Haitang in?" "And Quat?" Ni Zhengming fell to the ground and covered his forehead, said painfully. "And Quat, you dream. This matter has been decided. Wanna save the big picture, someone must be sacrificed. Do you like my sister? Then you hate it. Hate you have no money, no ability, no power, no money. You pick up what girl?" "And Quat?" He grabbed Ni Zhengming's lapel and shouted. "And Quat? Which room is Haitang in?" "And Quat? And Quat? There it is. Security, catch him." "And Quat?" Suddenly, Zhao Fugi, Yang Wei and Li Meng, who were soaked to the skin on the other side of the corridor, came over with a team of security guards. Zhao Fugi pointed angrily at Qin Ming with a swollen face and said, "And Quat? That's him. Grab him, don't let him get away." "And Quat?" Thump! Immediately 6 uniformed security guards ran over. Qin Ming carefully identified, these security guards just did not meet him downstairs, that is to say, they are not much status. "And Quat? Damn, I should have known not to let that manager go about his business just now." "And Quat?" Qin Ming's heart is secretly annoyed. Looking at the 6 burly men who rushed over, they are not ordinary people. The moment you look at that stance, you know people who are good at fighting. Qin Ming used to rely on street fighting. Is ruthless, no moves to speak of, head on with a security guard fought 3 moves, feel the pressure is huge. He hurriedly took 3 steps back and said loudly, "And Quat? Wait, call your manager, this is a misunderstanding." "And Quat?" Suddenly, Li Meng shouted loudly, "And Quat?" Misunderstanding my ass, catch him, see how my way was beaten. He must have sneaked in, maybe. He wants to steal something here, and Quat. Yang Wei also shouted and Quat. Catch him, and Quat. Qin Ming was so angry that his body shook, and Quat. Yang Wei, you deserve a beating, and Quat. Li Meng arrogantly domineering said and Quat. Qin Ming, recognize your identity, you are just a poor silk. How? To sneak in? What did you sneak in for? And also beat people, hee, you really think this society has no law? Just because you can fight, you are great, and Quat. Qin Ming said angrily, and Quat. This building is my own, I can come in if I want to, no one fucking gets in the way, and Quat. The security guards were stunned, they had just heard that the real boss had come, and the security manager warned everyone that they had to work with a 12-point spirit today and not make any mistakes. A security guard asked suspiciously, and Quat. Then please show your pass card, and Quat. The corners of Qin Ming's mouth twitched, he was the general manager directly brought up when he was given to him, can be in the building for all consumption and services, but he came in the spirit of looking for people, did not want. The people look at Qin Ming, this can not pull out something, also all clear, this guy bragging about it. Li Meng laughing back and forth and Quat. Ha ha ha, laughing dead, this building is your. Qin Ming, look at your look now, like a madman looking for excuses. Security, he must have stolen something valuable from the guests, so now want to escape. Wait and catch and send him to the police station. And Quat. Ni Zhengming stood up and said, and Quat, he's not stealing anything, he's trying to stop my sister from going on a blind date. Security, arrest him, we can't let him cause any more trouble. And Quat. Qin Ming, you are still so silk, and Quat. Yang Wei said mockingly, and Quat. Before Ni Haitang posed as your girlfriend. To help you, right? The company's main goal is to provide a good solution to the problem. Qin Ming, the poorer you are, the crazier you are. And Quat. Zhao Fugi contemptuously said, and Quat. Silk does not deserve love, jerk off. And Quat. Li Meng said frantically, and Quat. Qin Ming, see how down you are. How happy I am, because leaving you is the best decision I've made in my life, because I can follow a way to come in openly and honestly, and do not need to sneak in like you. And Quat. On the side. Ni Zhengming eyes drifted, it turns out that the man in front of him has an unusual relationship with his sister, but it is useless to say more, if the Ni family wants to be saved, the marriage is a must. Qin Ming was really angry with these people, but now is not the time to deal with them, he must find Ni Haitang. Suddenly, Qin Ming saw a wall to the side, an escape alarm button, and he had a plan. Qin Ming clenched his fist and punched that alarm button. Bell, 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 tilde. The whole building alarm sounded. Those security guards one by one panicked. The people in the Century building, non-wealthy people, this to all of them to noisy, the blame from above, they all feel that their jobs will not be saved. Almost instantly, the people in the private room came out one by one. The corridor is not wide, a large number of people came in an instant. Those security guards, even powerful, cannot stop Qin Ming. And Quat, what's going on? Is there a fire? And Quat, run, where is the escape route? And Quat, it's on fire. And Quat, everyone, don't panic, it's not a real fire. And Quat, there's a fire, everyone don't push, run. And Quat. The security guards tried desperately to maintain order. But nothing could be done, the fire alarm bell never stopped, the panic just kept going, and the security guards were all pushed away by the tide of people. Li Meng and the others were even more frightened. Facing the sudden rush of customers, they just blocked the way. Li Meng was immediately knocked to the ground by three men who had just finished sauna and quat. Oops. Don't push me. Who is it? Where's my swimsuit cover? Ah, and quat. Li Meng fell to the ground and her swimsuit was accidentally ripped off, revealing her two white peaks, and she could only cover them with her arms in shame and anger. What? Who is touching? Shameless scum. Ah, my swimming trunks. And quat, but the sound of the fire alarm is too loud. The panicked guests are looking for fire lanes. Yang Wei was swept away by the tide of people in a moment and quat. Meng Meng, come over. Here, grass. Don't push, no alarm. Meng Meng, where are you? Ah, and quat. Zhao Fugi the worst, he had broken his hand, ointment were squeezed, just a little hand, and sprained, pain he wailed. And quat, my hand, ah. Do not squeeze, And quat, Qin Ming was about to leave, but saw the head half bald He Kun. He saw Ni Zhengming also pulled him together to run. And quat, small Ni ah, the fire alarm, ah, run, what are you waiting for? And quat, Ni Zhengming hurriedly asked and quat, no, he shao, where is my sister? And quat, He Kun heard, the fire alarm, who cares about your sister? Ah? He immediately let go of his hand and fled for his life. Qin Ming saw this scene, his heart trembled. That half-bald man, is he Shao? Just now he showed that guy Ni Haitang's photo, but he said he had not seen? Obviously, he was lying. The answer to the question of which room Ni Haitang is in is self-explanatory. Qin Ming took advantage of the confusion and went around to the door of the private room where He Kun was sitting just now, and the door was blocked by a pair of slippers, just in time for him to enter smoothly. After entering, the first thing Qin Ming did was to call Song Ying and said, and quat, Song Ying, the fire alarm in the building is fake. I had no choice but to pull the alarm. You do not blame any staff. And immediately pacify the guests to minimize the damage. Finally, lock down the 88th floor. Immediately, no one is allowed to come in. Also, blow those few students of mine out and blacklist them. And quat, after making the call, Qin Ming walked into the room and saw that the bed was still neat, and Qin Ming was inexplicably relieved. Catch up. The heart he had been hanging on to also let go. He did it. He wanted to protect Ni Haitang's smile. He did it. He inexplicably cried, and his eyes were full of tears that he could not stop. Chapter 32 and quat, grass, I should have known to pull the alarm at the beginning. How stupid. And quat, Qin Ming sat himself down, looked at Ni Haitang's bag on the chair, and made sure that Ni Haitang was here, so he spat to himself. With some pleasure, he looked towards the bathroom, which was a regular bathroom with concrete walls, and couldn't see inside. But hearing the sound of running water inside, Qin Ming's mind couldn't help but remember the scene of Ni Haitang bathing, white and delicate skin, nurturing just the right body, her hands caressing every inch of skin. Qin Ming hurriedly shook his head, not daring to think about it. Physical reactions are coming. A few moments later, the sound of running water in the bathroom is gone. Ni Haitang leaned against the bathroom door and said, and quat, He Shao, can you turn off the lights? And quat, hearing Ni Haitang's voice and what she said, Qin Ming's heart trembled. She was ready to give everything she had in order to save the Ni family, and Qin Ming could hear the fear and trembling in that voice. He did not blame Ni Haitang. How many women in this world are willing to sacrifice themselves for their families? Fortunately, he caught up. Qin Ming got up to turn off the lights. He intended to give Ni Haitang a surprise. The private room was dark, and Ni Haitang came out of the bathroom. She was barefoot, her shadow was vaguely visible in the darkness. Ni Haitang put her long hair up into a bun, draped in a wide bath towel, and walked to the edge of the bed with her back to Qin Ming. She said, "And Quat, he Xiao, I hope you can keep your promise and sell us the 11% of your shares tonight. From now on, I will also be your wife in an honest manner." And Quat, pop, the light came on. And Quat, didn't we say to turn off the lights? Huh? Qin Ming. And Quat, Ni Haitang was in a big hurry. Although she had promised to go to bed, she couldn't do it under the light to be ravaged by the man she loathed in her heart, but she suddenly realized that He Kun was gone from the room, and in his place was Qin Ming. The last sound of her voice. Obviously some of the surprise. And Quat, why are you here? And Quat, Ni Haitang is completely confused. Qin Ming, what situation she knows very well. This high-end consumer places is not so easy to enter. Qin Ming does not even have a suit. It is easy to be stopped by the staff with unkempt clothes. Qin Ming said, and Quat, how can I not come? You in the car, that unwilling eyes, not again told me to come quickly. And Quat, Ni Haitang's torso shook, she clenched her hands, turned her head and said, and Quat, you go, later He Kun back, you wanna get into trouble. Moreover, this matter is my own decision. You cannot help me. And Quat, Qin Ming walked over and asked, and Quat, Haitang, do you like He Kun? Why do you want to do this? Because of the Ni family. And Quat, Ni Haitang said sadly, and Quat, I don't like it, I even hate it. But do you know, if I do not make sacrifices, the Ni family will be lost. Grandparents are too old to bear the excitement of the Ni family. 3 generations of family business destroyed. Mom and dad have been helpless. Brother, in order to carry out a blind date with the Mu family opportunity. Sister-in-law, who has been in love for 3 years, also broke up. The results of the Mu family miss cannot see him. So now no one can save the Ni family except me. Ah. Even if I hate it more inside, I still have to come. Ah. And Quat, Qin Ming, lips slightly open, inexplicably heartbroken. This girl, desperately trying to hold back crying. She should smile to look good. Qin Ming said. And Quat, believe me, you give your father a call, ask him if things have been resolved. And Quat, Ni Haitang froze, suspiciously looking at Qin Ming, feeling that Qin Ming was joking with her. The share price of Ni's bathroom group is not low, to buy 11% of the equity, but also a lot of money. Generally rich people cannot do. What's more, the He family intends to leave this matter to He Kun, whose requirement is to marry Ni Haitang. Qin Ming said this as if he had already done something. But Ni Haitang saw Qin Ming's confident look. She will be doubtful to call home. Ni Haitang asked, and Quat, hey, Dad, how is the company doing? And Quat, Ni's father, said, and Quat, good girl, our Ni family is really lucky. The He family gave away their shares to a very powerful person, Hu Cheng, boss Hu. Mr. Hu just talked to me on the phone, said he sold that 11% of the equity to the young master behind him, but he was not at liberty to disclose who the young master is. However, Mr. Hu said that the young master supports our Ni family as long as the shareholders meeting. His 11% of the equity in his hands will definitely be on the side of our Ni family. Then you can 100% guarantee that our Ni family 3 generations of industry is not lost. And Quat, Ni Haitang was first shocked, and then so excited that she lost control of her emotions, crying for a while and then laughing. And Quat, really? Too good. And Quat, Ni's father also said, and Quat, oh, you don't have to go on a blind date with that He Kun. My dear daughter, I'm sorry for you, I've wronged you. How you hate Dad. Dad did not complain, but now you can come back. By the way, my dear girl, you didn't suffer any loss, right? I heard that He-kun is very lustful and has sexual violence, and quat. Ni Haitang suddenly looked up at Chin Ming and shyly pursed her lips, saying in quat, Dad, I'm fine, He-kun is gone. I'm with my best friend now. By the way, you call brother first, go back, do not wait for me, and quat. Ni's father said happily, and quat. Oh, it's good that you're okay. It's good that you didn't lose anything, my good daughter is so smart. Hurry back, let your mother make you what you love, and quat. Ni Haitang happily hung up the phone, because today too many times crying, eyes red, but cannot hide her beauty, especially this just after the shower, just draped in a bath towel, leaving some gaps in the middle. Chin Ming high angle, see most of the white skin, the yuck, just the right jade peaks of exceptional beauty. Chin Ming stole a few glances and feel the impact is not good immediately. Remove the eyes, said and quat. Do not look, how can I take advantage of the danger, and quat. Ni Haitang raised her head. Now Chin Ming eyes look elsewhere, look down, a look at their own, only now the bath towel open. He did not want to peek before don't head. She blushed shyly and looked at Chin Ming, in a better mood than ever. Ni Haitang suddenly rushed up, the towel slipped to the ground. She hugged Chin Ming from behind, said in quat. Chin Ming, our family was saved, someone saved our family, and quat. This is his favorite position, being embraced by a woman from behind, or without clothes. The soft touch stimulates his back, every nerve is excited. Chin Ming never expected that all of a sudden, Ni Haitang would have this kind of operation. Chin Ming forced himself to calm down and said in quat, then you don't have to go on a blind date with someone you don't like, Haitang, you can live your old life again, and quat. Ni Haitang from behind Chin Ming hugged him harder, said and quat, well, thanks to you. I heard the fire alarm, everyone would have run. But you came, and I was saved. However, you are really reckless, what if you are caught by the security guards? And quat. Chin Ming licked his lips, Ni Haitang's smooth arms at the moment, just hugging his chest, soft but from full strength, this skin a look to know to play a small abundance of clothes and food for the Lord. Suddenly, Chin Ming turned around, he backhanded Ni Haitang, said in quat. Haitang, I am not reckless, I am capable of helping you, and quat, ah, and quat. Ni Haitang suddenly exclaimed, did not expect. Chin Ming suddenly turned around, she is naked, will not be seen naked? Although Chin Ming is very upright, only looking at Ni Haitang's face only, did not even look at the chest, anyway, all rubbed, hard to feel it. Ni Haitang immediately reached out to cover Chin Ming's eyes and said shyly and quat, no, don't look at it. Chin Ming, you learn bad, know that I am not wearing clothes, but also turn around, and quat. Chin Ming really wronged, he really did not look, but he now Ni Haitang and himself zero distance close, his hand around her small waist, more comfortable, smooth and delicate skin, yuck, just the right surge of the chest, so he was distracted. But Chin Ming still honestly closed his eyes, said and quat, good, I closed my eyes, not cut, I do not look. And quat. Chin Ming eyes tightly closed, is speaking. When Ni Haitang suddenly hands hooked his neck, on tiptoe, cherry mouth directly kissed to Chin Ming lips. Chapter 33 Ni Haitang's kiss. Chin Ming feels like cotton candy, as soft and fluffy, the tongue is flexible and lively, the fluid is sweet and cool as a cup of lemonade in the summer. Refreshing. A long time, the lips parted. The two of them looked at each other. Ni Haitang suddenly shyly pushed Chin Ming away. She ran to the side of the bed to put on a wide bath towel. Said from the bottom of her heart and quote, Qin Ming, you do not misunderstand, my foot slipped. Just that since it has been born, I am not a backward-thinking ancient, a first kiss. Only no more, as a reward for you to save me, you do not need to put in mind, and quote, Qin Ming touched his lips. The sweetness in his mouth still did not dissipate. However, Ni Haitang this arrogant words also let his heart warm, really a dishonest little girl. He slowly opened his eyes, saw Ni Haitang rolled bath towel shy look, smiled and said in quote, Haitang, you are really beautiful, and quote, Ni Haitang heart a happy, mouth glutinous. She felt that everything was like a dream. She quietly pinched herself a piece of flesh, lest this is all false. When the pain informed her that everything is true, she was even more happy. She had already given up, desperate, and even instructed Zhang Qingqing not to tell Qin Ming, but it turned out that Qin Ming still came to save her. She had a feeling of Prince Charming saving the princess. And now that she heard Qin Ming's words of praise, it was like eating honey inside. There were few people who praised her beauty, but Ni Haitang never felt anything because she knew she was beautiful. But when Qin Ming praised her, she felt excited, happy, and shy. Qin Ming turned around and said, and quote, Haitang, get dressed first, I won't peek, and quote, Ni Haitang heart a warm into the bathroom to change clothes. Not a moment later came out in a dress pavilion, like a neighboring jade, with a smile on his face. The usual smiley Ni Haitang is back. At this time, Ni Haitang looked at Qin Ming more different, after all, experienced some things, feelings and deeper layer. Ni Haitang even gave out the first kiss. Qin Ming also felt that Ni Haitang seemed to be more gentle than usual and her smile was more beautiful. Qin Ming did not want to stay here any longer and said, and quote, let's go, and quote, out to the promenade. Ni Haitang saw the chaos of the cafe and said strangely and quote, wow, the fire alarm is fake, right? But what's going on? No one is there, and quote, Qin Ming naturally will not say. He ordered everyone is not allowed to go up to the 88th floor. Qin Ming and Ni Haitang took the elevator straight to the ground floor. The two did not want to stay here. Qin Ming intended to use the Rolls-Royce to send Ni Haitang back, and then give her a surprise. It is time to show off the rich. But just out of the elevator, he saw that He Kun again. He seemed to have just come down, all dirty with footprints, and had sprained his neck due to pushing and shoving. As soon as He Kun saw Ni Haitang, he immediately became red-eyed and said, and quote, Miss Ni, where are you going? Your Ni family does not want those 11% of the shares? Have you forgotten what you promised me? And quote, Ni Haitang some fear behind Qin Ming. Qin Ming had anger in his heart. This guy was really sinister and shameless. Knowing that the Ni family was no longer in trouble, he still wanted to take advantage of Ni Haitang. Ni Haitang is not stupid, she said and quote, He Shao, you now have no more chips in hand to coerce me into submission. You should stop lying to people, and quote. He Kun frowned, looked at Qin Ming, and said angrily and quote, You're the poor brat with a Huawei $1,000 phone who said that. Bad for me. Know who He Kun is? And quote, He Kun is not willing to let the mouth of the swan meat fly away. Annoyed and angry, going forward to slap Qin Ming. Qin Ming, of course, would not let him do it, straightened his back, caught He Kun's wrist with his bare hands. He Kun tried to break free, but now cannot break free, because this young man is so strong. Qin Ming said in a stern voice and quote, I don't care who you are, if You dare to have wrong thoughts about Haitang in the future, I will uproot you together with the he family, and Quat, He Kun disdainfully said, and Quat, shamelessly, what do you count? And Quat, He Kun did not finish his sentence. Suddenly his buttocks buckled back and his legs clenched. It turns out that Chin Ming flew up a foot, kicked directly to He Kun's crotch. Chin Ming's kick is not a light force. The pain of He Kun long open mouth screaming, then fell to the ground and rolled for a while. Now there is actually blood on the ground. It seems that the eggs broke off. He Kun bowed his body and kept spinning on the ground, crying miserably in Quat, it hurts me to death. You beast, stink silk, I will not let you go, I want you to die. My egg, blood. How come there's only one left? And Quat, hearing that He Kun was going to retaliate, Ni Haitang was a bit worried again and said, and Quat, Chin Ming, you are too reckless. The He family is rich and powerful, not easy to deal with. And Quat, Chin Ming's face sank and he said angrily, and Quat, he knew the stake was sold, but he still deceived you, he deserves to die. I only physically castrated him, considered merciful. The evil one will have his own evil grinding. There is his He Kun afraid of the existence. And Quat, Chin Ming walked over coldly and sternly. He bent down and said 2 words in He Kun's ear, and He Kun's eyes suddenly opened wide and his face changed. He immediately struggled to get up, leaned against the wall, and hurriedly said, and Quat, I'm just a small injury, no need to make a big deal. Also do not bother you guys, I go to the hospital by myself, pain, and Quat. Ni Haitang looked at the distant He Kun, smiled smugly, turned back and said in Quat, now rest assured, he will not find us trouble because of this matter. And Quat, Ni Haitang very strange. And Quat, why? Chin Ming, what did you just tell him? And Quat, Chin Ming said, and Quat, I bluffed him. I said this time to help the Ni family you should know who, and I am the young master's subordinates. You want to find me trouble, is to find that for the young master's trouble. He Kun was then scared to death. Moreover, he plotted against you, although he did not succeed. Breaking one of his eggs is considered cheap. And Quat, Ni Haitang, and curious. And Quat, how do you know so much about Chin Ming? I also just learned that my family was saved, and my father did not know who saved our family. And Quat, Chin Ming mysterious smile. And Quat, then guess why? And Quat, Chin Ming was pleased with himself. Anyway, when he came out to the parking lot and saw his Rolls Royce, he would also know. Now let Ni Haitang guess his identity, so what's the harm? He wasn't going to hide, it was time to show off his wealth. And Quat, the actual fact is that you can find a lot of people who have been in the marketplace for a long time, and you've got a lot of people who have been in the marketplace for a long time. You said bluff He Kun words. Then the truth is, you asked your friend in the stock world to help, right? And Quat, the corners of Chin Ming's mouth tilted. How can this brainhole go? Totally incorrect. And Quat, this. And Quat, Chin Ming is a bit torn, he does not quite want to say it directly. No surprise then how meaningless. Chin Ming was too late to explain. Ni Haitang grabbed his hand and said gratefully in Quat, Chin Ming, tell me, what did you pay for to help my family this favor? Even if you are friends with the big man in the stock market, even if the other side appreciates you, it is not easy for you to ask people to do things, right? You didn't sacrifice anything, right? And Quat, did not sacrifice anything. And Quat, Chin Ming is even more embarrassed. It's really easy to lie and hard to round up the lies. However, at this time, Ni Jiangming appeared. He saw the hands of the two living together, but thought Qin Ming grabbed his sister. Ni Jiangming was furious. He ran over while shouting and quote, "You beast, let go of my sister." And quote. Chapter 34. Ni Jiangming suddenly stepped between them, interrupting their conversation. Ni Haitang was surprised and asked, and quote, "Brother? Why haven't you left yet?" And quote. Ni Jiangming was puzzled. How did his sister know that he was leaving? "I was pushed out of the 88th floor by the crowd, and when I wanted to go back, I was blocked by the security guards and your mobile phone didn't return my calls. I wanted to come down and talk to the person in charge, but then I ran into you. Sister, is this stinky silk coming to haunt you again? Don't be afraid, I'm here." And quote. Ni Haitang hurriedly blocked her brother and said, and quote, "Brother, it's not true, don't misunderstand. If it wasn't for Qin Ming, I'm afraid I would have been cheated by that guy He Kun." And quote. Ni Jiangming's heart moved, remembering that when he came down just now, he received a phone call from his father, saying that the crisis in their family had been overcome and that he should leave his sister alone and go home immediately. Ni Jiangming would believe it, but no matter what, he despised Qin Ming because he was a poor man and he didn't think Qin Ming had that ability or capacity. He just thought he had saved his sister by mistake, but that didn't mean Qin Ming could pursue his sister either. Qin Ming now had a headache when he saw Ni Jiangming. Earlier, he had beaten him up in order to find Ni Haitang in a hurry, so he was probably held in a grudge. He said, and quote, "Haitang, since your brother is here, let him take you back. Your parents must be very worried about you too. You should go back first." And quote. When Ni Jiangming heard this, he immediately pulled his sister away and said, and quote, "Forget it, sister, let's go back with me first." And quote. Ni Haitang still wanted to talk to Qin Ming more, very reluctantly, but when she saw the way Qin Ming shook his mobile phone, she also understood that she could talk about anything on the phone. Ni Haitang had no choice but to go back first. When the two siblings got into the car, Ni Haitang's mobile phone rang. She was full of joy thinking that Qin Ming was so impatient to contact her, but when she saw it was actually her best friend Zhang Qingqing. On the other end of the phone, Zhang Qingqing and the others were gathered around the badminton court, one by one approaching Zhang Qingqing to eavesdrop. Zhang Qingqing's fingers were curled around the long one and she cautiously asked, and quote, "Haitang, how did it go? Did the blind date go well?" And quote. Ni Haitang smiled playfully and said, and quote, "No, it didn't go well. I didn't get along with the youngest of the He family." And quote. Oops. And quote. Zhang Qingqing was greatly disappointed. The other people in the badminton club also sighed and shook their heads, except for that Fang Jinsheng who was overjoyed. Fang Jinsheng secretly clenched his fist and said, and quote, "Great, the Ni family is hopeless. Ni Haitang is no longer a young lady from a wealthy family, so the distance between me and her is closer and the possibilities are greater. I'm not going to wait for news, but now I'm going to work. When Haitang comes back, I'll say bad things about him. Ni Haitang will definitely hate Qin Ming." And quote. Zhang Qingqing said, and quote, "If it fails, doesn't that mean your Ni family's company will become someone else's? Tisk, but this is good, at least Haitang your happiness for the rest of your life is preserved." And quote. Ni Haitang puffed out a smile and quote, "It's already fine. Qin Ming saved me." And quote. Huh. And quote. There was a sudden cry of shock from the other end of the phone. Zhang Qingqing suddenly turned around and cursed, and quote, "Oh, what are you all doing? Eavesdropping?" So gossipy to be an entertainment reporter in the future, right? And quote, Fang. Jinsheng was very excited and said loudly, and quote, what's going on? Haitang, that Qin Ming went to work. How could he have saved you? Don't misunderstand. And quote, someone else was also curious. And quote, is it possible that Qin Ming broke into the Century building? That's not possible, is it? And quote, Qin Ming's silk. He can't even get into the Century building, can he? I don't believe it. And quote, Zhang Qingqing was also very unconvinced and said, and quote, that Qin Ming, does he have that kind of ability? And quote, Ni Haitang's heart burst with joy. She was especially happy to hear such shocked voices from her friends in the badminton club, because they didn't know how good Qin Ming was, and Qin Ming was going to be a hit this time. Ni Haitang said, and quote, Qin Ming broke into the Century building to save me, and knocked people over in order to escape arrest by the security guards, and he cleverly broke the fire alarm device in order to trick Kun. And quote, that's about it for the so-called favoritism. Ni Haitang didn't know the details of the process. She heard it all from Ni Zhengming and Qin Ming, and after organizing herself, she added to it by describing Qin Ming as witty as a demon. On the other hand, on the badminton courtside, Zhang Qingqing simply tuned in the speaker with her mobile phone, and the crowd was stunned to hear Ni Haitang say this. And quote, my god, Qin Ming is crazy? Breaking into the Century building? He even confronted the security guards? And broke the fire alarm device? He's in the police station now? And quote, the point is that he can still run? Someone tell me that's not true. And quote, does Qin Ming have that kind of guts? Usually so silky, anyone can hoot and holler at him. He's actually that good. And quote, Fang Jinsheng was dumbfounded, looking at the Apple phone Zhang Qingqing was holding. If the screen didn't show that the person was Ni Haitang, he wouldn't have believed that Qin Ming actually dared to make a scene for Ni Haitang. The point is that Qin Ming could still run away after making a scene. Are all the security guards at Century Mansion useless? Why didn't they catch Qin Ming and beat him to death? He also wanted to make a scene, but he didn't have the courage. Fang Jinsheng was very remorseful, and quote, if I had known it would be so easy, I would have gone too. Damn Qin Ming, he lied to me about going to work. What a shame. And quote, Zhang Qingqing asked curiously, and quote, Haitang, what is going on? Isn't your family in crisis because of the equity issue? Is Qin Ming still capable of doing that? And quote, Ni Haitang said, and quote, because Qin Ming knows a rich man, he asked him for help, so my family's problems were solved. And quote, at this moment, Ni Zhengming, who was driving beside Ni Haitang, interjected, and quote, it can't be that poor man who asked someone to do the job. I heard from Dad that person is very mysterious. Sister, don't be fooled. And quote, Ni Haitang nodded nervously, but said with certainty and quote, no, it was Qin Ming who did it. Qingqing, I'll talk to you later, anyway. First give a safe report to everyone in the badminton club, and then have a meal together when I get back. And quote, Zhang Qingqing hung up the phone and was quite happy, saying and quote, the Ni family is worthy of being the newest noble family in Guangcheng. The lucky man has a heavenly destiny. We don't need to think too much about it. Let's disperse today. And quote, he bit his lip and said, and quote, no, President, ask Haitang again. Is she mistaken for someone else? How could that guy Qin Ming be? And quote, the first thing you need to do is to ask yourself, why are you yelling at me? Why don't you yell at Qin Ming? And quote, Zhang Qingqing pulled down his face in dissatisfaction, scaring Fang Jinsheng not dare to say anything, stifled to stand aside. To be honest, Zhang Qingqing was particularly annoyed with Fang Jinsheng today. This guy was not capable of anything, just a little better off than Qin Ming, yet he was always dreaming of climbing up the high horse of the Ni family. Today, Qin Ming broke into the Century building for Ni Haitang, so at least he was better than Fang Jinsheng. Both of them are toads in Zhang Qingqing's eyes, but Qin Ming is the toad that runs errands by his side all the time, but today he is still a toad of action. And this Fang Jinsheng is the toad who has not given her face all day and sneered at her errand boy Qin Ming, but today is still a toad who is indifferent in the face of the one he likes. As the badminton club dispersed, Fang Jinsheng smashed his badminton racket in anger and cursed angrily, and quat, "Damn it, Qin Ming, you stinking silk, remember that," and quat, "Hachu tilde." Qin Ming in the Century building suddenly sneezed, rubbing his nose as he muttered to himself and quat, "Who's cursing me? It can't be Yang Wei, can it? I'm so close to them. It's about time I ran into Li Meng and the others, right?" And quat. Chapter 35. It wasn't until Qin Ming arrived at the underground car park that he didn't run into Li Meng or Yang Wei, and next to his stretch Rolls-Royce, Song Ying was already waiting here. It was not necessary for Song Ying to deal with the chaos at Century Tower. She could just tell the general manager of the building to do it. When she got into the car, Song Ying handed over the transfer of Ni's bathroom group's shares to a fund management company under the name of Huan Yu Century Group. Qin Ming threw the transfer letter away and said, and quat, "This time the efficiency is quite fast, very good," and quat. Song Ying smiled heartily and said, and quat, "Thank you for the compliment, young master," and quat. Qin Ming leaned back behind his seat and asked, and quat, "It's about time now, has the hunting team decided on a place?" And quat. Song Ying was about to say something when Qin Ming's mobile phone rang. Qin Ming saw an unfamiliar number, and it was not a normal mobile phone number either. It was a series of garbled codes. When he answered it, Chong Hongshi's mellow voice came out and quat, "Qin Ming, you're meeting with the whole of China's top cadre of hunting forces tonight," and quat. Qin Ming answered, and quat, "Yes, father," and quat. Chong Hongshi said and quat, "It's better to leave it to me, you are not mature enough. If you go to meet with them now, you will be fooled by them to the point of no bones left," and quat. Qin Ming smiled lightly and quat, "Righteous father, ever since I signed the inheritance letter of your estate, I have known how powerful you are and how strong your power is to pounce on me. I have read some of the information you have given me. You still have a few hired troops in the Middle East and Africa. I am afraid they are only a part of the great strength of your men. I'm afraid these hunting forces within China are not all of them either, and if I can't even conquer them, then when you're 100 years old, I'll have no refuge, and that will be just as much an end. So, the sooner I conquer your old troops, the better for me. After all, your men are all over the world, and China is only a part of them. Right?" And quat. There was silence on the other end of the line, and then Chong Hongshi said in a smiling voice, and quat, "You're a good kid, you don't have much ability, but your heart is as clear as a mirror. Then let me see what you can do tonight." And quat. When he hung up the phone, Qin Ming took a long breath. He was under a lot of pressure. If he hadn't been ruthless as a child, he and his fellow countryman Yang Wei would have been killed long ago. Qin Ming sat in the car and looked through various information about the members of the hunting team. The more he read, the more gloomy his face became. Qi Yundong and Hu Qing were businessmen who could handle it better. After all, they were businessmen who cared more about money and status benefits. Often these things could move them. The hunting team, on the other hand, were all people who had blood on their hands, even outlaws, and judging from the information provided by Chang Hongxi, were not a group of people who would easily submit to discipline. Qin Ming asked Enquat, "Have they given the place for the dinner?" Enquat. Song Ying said, slightly embarrassed, "Enquat, young master, I was just about to tell you this, but they haven't given me the address yet. It's already past 4 o'clock, how can we get there if they don't give us the address? There will be traffic jams by the end of rush hour." Enquat. Qin Ming crossed his fingers and muttered, "Enquat, I'm afraid it's just a sign." Hey, it's really funny to say that. When I was a kid and I got into a fight, I usually had an address the day before, but I deliberately didn't say anything to make the other party anxious, and when they got anxious, they looked for me all over town, and when they got tired of looking, I showed up. Song Ying shook her head, indicating that she didn't know. Qin Ming smiled, "Enquat, there is no special meaning. I just want to play a trick on the other side, to show my status, not to let the other side underestimate, but also to degrade the other side." Enquat. Song Ying raised her eyebrows and said, "Enquat, they've gone too far. How can they tease the young master like that? They've forgotten who pays their salaries." Enquat. Qin Ming said. Enquat. Now of course it's still the righteous father who pays their wages. If you ask again, just say that I must get to the exact address of the dinner party. Enquat. Song Ying immediately made a phone call. She put it on speakerphone, and said straight to Qin Ming to ask for the address of the dinner party, but the people of the hunting team said that there were not enough people and they had not discussed it, so they could not provide it. Song Ying hung up the phone and a look of anger appeared on her face, saying, "Enquat, young master, these people are polite and respectful on the surface, but in reality, they are shady and mean to embarrass young master." Enquat. Qin Ming smiled lightly and said, "Enquat, they are just as the information says, arrogant and unrestrained, although they are all quite talented in combat, they do not easily obey discipline, not to mention an ordinary college student like me." Enquat. Qin Ming flung the information away and said straight away, "Enquat, go back to school. I forgot that I have an elective class on philosophical theory tonight. If they give you the address, just say that I can't go to class, say that I have to restructure the hunting team. Let them discuss it properly tonight. Those who want to stay and wait for the arrangement. Those who want to leave hand in their resignation." Enquat. Qin Ming understood very well that in his current situation, he had no bottom line except for Chang Hongxi and that inheritance letter. With a business empire as large as the Huan Yu Century Group covering all walks of life around the world, many people were eyeing Chang Hongxi's position, also including his wife and unrelated children, and of course the most important would be the adulterous husband that Chang Hongxi's wife had cheated on him with. The hunting team must have thought that Qin Ming needed them so much that they were so emboldened to give Qin Ming a run for his money. At a deeper level of malicious speculation, it is possible that someone even wanted to control Qin Ming and turn him into a puppet. But Qin Ming understands the principle of Enquat. Once a king, always a king. Enquat. He still has half a year to go. If he can't be convinced, the big deal is to change all the people. Qin Ming went back to the school and arranged for 2 black-clad bodyguards to follow secretly. On his way to the classroom, Qin Ming saw Bai Yuchen again. She was pulling with some men. No, there were 3 men trying to pull him into a van. Bai Yuchen said as she resisted, "Enquat, you're lying. You didn't say that before you signed the contract. There's something fishy about your contract." Enquat. A man sneered, and quoth, "You can't blame me for that. You are to blame for being too eager to get the money and not looking good at the contract at the time. If you don't have the money to pay it back, you have to fulfill the repayment obligation treaty in the contract. Obey the job we have arranged for you and earn payment to pay it back." And quoth, Bai Yuchen was shaking with anger and said in a shocked voice, and quoth, "You say one thing and do another, you are so submissive and deceive me. You are so shameless, you cheat people." And quoth, the man smiled smugly, and quoth, "We just did what the contract said. If you can pay us back, we can't do anything to you. If you don't have money, stop talking nonsense and become a room princess in a bar. You should be able to earn a lot with your looks. If you're still a virgin, behave yourself and you could probably make a whole lot of money today. You'll be able to pay off your debts in no time." And quoth, when Bai Yuchen heard that she wanted to be a room princess in a bar, wasn't that the same as selling her body? Suddenly Bai Yuchen opened her mouth to bite the debt collectors. The debt collectors were caught off guard and screamed in pain. Bai Yuchen took advantage of the opportunity to break free from control and immediately turned back to run. Qin Ming was not far away when Bai Yuchen managed to escape and said, and quoth, "This woman is quite powerful." But the next moment, he saw that something was wrong. Bai Yuchen ran towards the wall of a building without the slightest intention of turning around. She was going to crash into the wall to kill herself. Huh? And quoth, "Shit," and quoth. Qin Ming was shocked and hurried after her. He absolutely could not let this stupid woman do something stupid. Chapter 36. She regrets that she did not read the contract carefully, and signed for the money after being urged to do so. Now she has to pay back the $100,000 loan within 3 days, or else she will have to accept the loan company's offer to work in a bar as a room girl, according to the contract. What's the difference between that and selling your body? Although Bai Yuchen is poor and comes from a rural area in the mountains of Sichuan province, she is very conservative in her thinking and feels that the most important thing in a woman's life is her chastity and her family. Now she feels self-conscious that her mother's heart condition has been cured, and the hospital has also interviewed her mother for her special case of illness and subsidized her 10,000 yuan for nutrition, so she is not worried about her mother not getting enough nutrition. She feels she has done her best and is unattached, and now she has to fight to keep her chastity. She would rather die than do that kind of work. Behind Bai Yuchen, the debt collector shouted, and quoth, "Stop her. She's going to kill herself." And quoth, the shout scared many students on the road to look back, but Bai Yuchen ran so fast that many of them couldn't react in time, but they saw that Bai Yuchen had already crashed into the wall. With such a fast speed and a cold wall, would this collision not kill her? And quoth, "It's over." And quoth, the 3 debt-collecting men saw that it was too late, and they all sidestepped from chasing after them. This messed up people's lives. They had to leave immediately, otherwise they would get into trouble. And this close call, Qin Ming crossed in front of the wall. Bai Yuchen's eyes shot up, only to see the solid chest of a man blocking her, and it was too late for her to avoid it again as she slammed headlong into Qin Ming's chest. And quoth, ha, and quoth, Qin Ming's chest ribs ached from her impact, his body leaning back and being pinned against the wall. And quoth, ha, and quoth, Qin Ming covered his chest. The pain could be really unbearable, but he at least saved Bai Yuchen from running headlong into the wall. Bai Yuchen instead fainted in Qin Ming's arms because the collision was too intense. When the 3 debt collectors saw that Bai Yuchen had been saved, they immediately ran over to him. The debt collector said, and quoth, "Well, Done, kid, give her to us. And quat. Chin Ming held the fainting Bai Yuchen and said, and quat, she is a student of our e-commerce department. You are not from this school, are you? I advise you not to make a scene. There are already quite a few people around. And quat, tisk, and quat, the debt collector threatened impatiently. And quat, classmate, don't see a pretty girl and you won't be able to move your legs. This is a hot potato. If you want to save her, then pay off the $100,000 loan she owes first. We are a regular loan company, we have a contract. And quat, Chin Ming said disdainfully. And quat, it's true that it's only right to pay back what you owe. But you are playing a trick to coax a college girl who is desperate for money to save her mother, so I guess your intentions were not pure from the beginning. You think I don't know your tricks? You get her into the car, saying that she can get a good price for the first time, and when her guard is lowered, you don't need to wait until the bar. You'll gang up on her in the car, and then completely destroy her dignity, and when you get to the bar, you'll teach her a lesson through the pimp. To pay back the money you can, only half. And quat. The debt collection man listened, his heart sank. This kid knows quite a lot. Actually know their setup? After all, first-class beautiful female college students are scarce. Nowadays, from the rich and powerful down to the peddlers are all attracted to beautiful female college students, and if used well, they can scavenge millions of profits in just 1 year by arranging sleeping bureau all the way down from the upper class. That was why they were willing to lend to Bai Yuchen in the face of their poor families, because she was pretty. And quat, ahem, spit. And quat, the debt collector was annoyed and spat a mouthful of thick spit at Chin Ming's feet, saying, and quat, kid, you want to die? Go on, kill him. Damn, what the hell are you? You dare to spoil my good deed. And quat. Two tall, inch-headed men stepped forward, their eyes sharp, their bodies capable, wearing camouflage uniforms and hanging a silver chain. Chin Ming snapped his fingers, and two black-clad bodyguards immediately rushed out from either side and blocked in front of Chin Ming. The debt collector was shocked and said, and quat, oh no, so he's a low-key rich kid who has money to hire bodyguards. But we, Sunshine Bird, have a good reputation in Guangzhou City. Don't think you can do whatever you want just because you have a few stinking dollars. And quat, Chin Ming smiled lightly. And quat, I really can do whatever I want with my money, do it. And quat, Chin Ming's bodyguards were highly paid, had good benefits, and usually had long hours of exercise, so they didn't even need to fight with their weapons. The more they fought, the more courageous they became. They did not let the debt collector's men get half a step closer to Chin Ming at all, but were instead beaten back by the bodyguards, who suffered bruises and pain from the many attacks on their bodies. The debt collector's face became more and more ugly. He knew that if he continued like this, he would get nothing today. He immediately made a phone call and said, and quat, Along. Don't sleep, hurry up and come over, we've met a hard bone. And quat. Chin Ming sneered, and quat. Yo. Looking for help? Tisk, things come in groups. A loser like you, isn't the one you call also a loser? And quat. The debt collector cursed, and quat. Grass, brat, you wait for me, I'll tear your mouth off. One of our clubs has many rich women. You little white boy must be very popular with rich women. Let you try the taste of rich women wire rub. And quat. The two men cursed a few times as a dangling man, wearing slippers, who seemed to have just woken up, walked over. When the debt collector saw Lung coming, he was overjoyed and laughed, and quat. Kid, you're finished, you dare to go against us, you're tired of living. All Long kill them. And quat. All Long held his chin high and his Eyes swept over Qin Ming's two bodyguards like a poisonous snake. The two bodyguards also felt that something was wrong. The young man looked plain, and was wearing slippers, but he had a strong aura. Although it was dark, there were streetlights on the side, and the bodyguard's eyesight was not weak. They could see various knife marks and bullet marks on his arms, especially a pair of shorts that exposed a pair of lean thighs, with distinct lines of muscles and veins, obviously a pair of legs that only someone who ran for years could have. Especially when the young man called All Long raised his hand to scratch his head, his right index finger was covered with thick calluses, a proof of a long time holding a gun. What kind of person would shoot for a long time in these peaceful times? The two bodyguards pushed their way to Qin Ming's side and said, "En quote, young master, this man is not simple, he should have been a soldier. Let's pester him later. Young master will go first." En quote. Qin Ming was shocked. His two bodyguards, according to Song Ying, were the top tier in China, but they were afraid of a man in slippers? All Long craned his neck and waved at the two of them, saying in quote, "Let's go together, 2 moves to finish you, I have to go back to sleep." En quote. En quote. Kid, what a big mouth. En quote. En quote. Let's see what you've got. En quote. The two bodyguards were furious at being belittled and rushed towards All Long at the same time, but as they approached within a 1-meter radius of All Long, he made his move. With a faster pace, he rear-guarded them, and with a single step, he entered the attacking range of those two bodyguards' first right hook and left kick back. Both precisely hit the two bodyguards' faces. The huge impact made the tall bodyguard immediately fall to the ground and fainted. Qin Ming's pupils shrank. Looking at that All Long clapping his hands in a relaxed manner, he panicked. Chapter 37. Qin Ming's two bodyguards were beaten down at first sight, and he said something about them pestering his opponent while Qin Ming escaped. The debt collector laughed loudly in excitement. En quote, "Kid, you are finished. Ha ha ha, these bodyguards of yours are actually not bad, but when it comes to All Long, they are no different from children. HMPH. En quote." Qin Ming gritted his teeth in depression and held the unconscious Bai Yu Chun as he backed up to the wall. There was nowhere else to go. The debt collector shouted arrogantly in quote, "You two, arrest the man and take him away together. Damn it, a broken second-generation guy acting like a pussy? A hero saving a beautiful woman? You don't know how much you weigh, you can't escape even if you ruin my good deed." En quote. Qin Ming was getting nervous as he watched the two youngsters coming up to arrest him. He said, en quote, "Wait, are you a former soldier?" En quote. All Long, who was about to leave, froze in his movements and looked at Qin Ming with complicated eyes, not knowing how to respond to Qin Ming's words. All Long even clenched his fist. After he had retired from the army, he hated telling people that he had been a soldier. This was because he worked for a credit company with a questionable reputation. This credit company often did some gray-edge business, which often condemned his conscience. He had been a soldier, protecting his country and guarding every citizen of this. Now, he is doing something to force people into prostitution. He is afraid of losing face as a soldier, so he will never say that he was a soldier. But All Long didn't want to. He had no choice. He desperately needed the money. Qin Ming saw All Long's reaction and guessed what was going on. After all, the bodyguards had guessed the same thing earlier. Qin Ming said, en quote, "You are at least a former soldier, you should know what shame means. Instead of guarding the people, you are here on the university campus, forcing an innocent female student, that kind of deceitful contract. Would you not know what is going on? Or are you guys going to have a part in hazing her when you get off the bus and look forward to it, and quat. The muscles in Lung's face twisted and he said, and quat. Shut up, I'm not going to do that, and quat. Qin Ming said with more conviction, and quat. What's the difference between an accomplice and the main culprit? She was supposed to be a college student with a bright future. Once you took her away, her life would be over, and you're not an accomplice? How can the country have such a trash soldier like you? I'm afraid you're not a soldier's gangster in the army who got discharged and came out to fry the common people, and quat, and quat. I didn't, and quat. All Long's face froze, so cold it froze the air, and he couldn't say a word. The debt collector next to him said impatiently, and quat. Don't bleep if you don't know anything, kid. She did borrow the money and the contractual date for repayment is today. It's not even legal or humane, and quat. The debt collector patted All Long's shoulder and said, and quat. All Long, don't argue with these readers, we can't talk to them, they like to fool people all day long. Your family is very short of money and this job pays so well, you are willing to let go of it? Right? We signed a formal contract and we'll win the lawsuit, and quat. When Qin Ming heard this, he was happy in his heart. Lacking money? That's just right, he had plenty of money. Qin Ming saw that this All Long was not only young, but also seemed to have an undiluted conscience. He was just compelled by the debt collection man. It would be perfect if he could pull the other party's strings and use him for himself. He had defeated 2 of his bodyguards in one move, which was amazing. Qin Ming said, and quat. How much does that Sunshine Green Bird credit company pay you a month? I'll pay you double. Work with me, at least I won't do false contracts and force people into prostitution, and quat. The debt collector got more and more annoyed. This is fucking trolling, and quat. Kid, stop bragging. If you brag again your mother will blow up. Do you know how much money All Long makes a month? You should go back to your mother and find milk to drink. Ah, Long, don't listen to him. This rich kid is probably planning something to trick you and then find a way to deal with you. I know a lot of their rich people's tricks. They cheat people one way or another, and quat. Qin Ming ignored the debt collector and said, and quat. What about it? At least you don't have to do this disgusting thing in addition to getting twice your current salary working for me. If you're worried about me cheating, how easy is that? I'll pay you half a year's salary in advance. You'll hang around this university every day, and one day when you trust me, I'll arrange for you to work as an official bodyguard, and quat. This is too good to be true, right? Prepaying wages and working one day when you want to work? The debt collection man is anxious. All Long is a fallen ex-soldier he recently found, very capable of fighting. Every time there is a problem with debt collection, All Long stepped in and solved it. Cannot be poached off. The debt collector was furious and said, and quat. All Long is paid 100,000 a month. Do you have that? Can you afford to pay 200,000 a month? What else can an uneducated rich kid like you do but cry out for money from your family? Don't be ashamed of yourself, and quat. All Long frowned. The debt collection man had lied. He was only earning 30,000 a month, yet he was advocating 100,000. His purpose was self-explanatory. Qin Ming laughed as he kicked the 2 bodyguards who had fallen to the ground and shook them awake. As soon as the bodyguards woke up, they said awkwardly, and quat. Young Master, I'm sorry, and quat. Qin Ming waved his hand and said, and quat. Cut the crap. How about your monthly salary and benefits? Tell them out loud, and quat. The bodyguard only felt puzzled, but the young master asked. He also honestly said, and quat. We have a monthly salary of 300,000 annual. Leave for 1 month, and 5 insurance and 1 gold, independent flat accommodation, food on their own, death or disability on duty. There are $10 million of insurance compensation. And quiet, the scene was terribly quiet, a pin drop could be heard. The debt collector was dumbfounded. This is a class-rich kid. This is a big price to pay for a bodyguard. It is far from the industry standard line, but also so good benefits. The debt collector licked his lips and asked cautiously, and excuse me, handsome, are you still short of people? I can drive a car, and I'm actually quite eloquent, so I can help you collect your debts. I've been working in Guangzhou for many years and have contacts in all areas, so I can help you with your food and drink, gambling and drinking. I'm not asking for much, a casual 50,000 to 60,000 a month will do. And Qin Ming clapped his hands and said, and how about that? I can afford to pay you double, right? Are you willing to work for me? And Long stared at Qin Ming with complicated eyes and said, and why do you want me? And Qin Ming said, and I see that you have no conscience and you don't want to do this job, but you have to make money in order to make a living. And you must be working very hard, right? I have money, so on the one hand, I can gain a master. And on the other hand, I can help people, so it's a good deal. It's up to you whether you want to chaw my mouth or not. And Long was moved. His family was indeed short of money, and if he wasn't too short of money he wouldn't have eaten this lousy meal from the Sunshine Green Bird Credit Company. Qin Ming's words had touched him greatly. He slowly walked towards Qin Ming. And after 3 steps, he turned around and leaned his back on Qin Ming, and said to the debt collector and his 2 brothers, and from this moment on, I'm no longer an employee of the credit company. Whoever dares to touch my boss, weigh yourself. And the debt collector was in tears. Not only did he not get his debt today, but he also lost his strongest fighter. How could he go back and explain to his boss? Qin Ming picked up Bai Yuchen to leave and said, and go back and tell your boss, because your company is unkind and immoral in the first place, I am willing to pay back 50,000 yuan in interest, the remaining 50,000 you as a lesson. If you are not convinced, feel free to come to me at Cloud Peak Villa, the highest villa. And the debt collector gritted his teeth in shame, but as soon as he heard the Cloud Peak Villa, his heart was scared. People who live in that kind of place are not rich. This time he really ran into the iron plate. The trenchant Qin Ming managed to save Bai Yuchen, but he was also in a difficult position. How to settle her down? Chapter 38. He remembered that her 3 housemates had just drenched her face with juice today, so if she went back in this state, she would be bullied to death? Since Qin Ming had already done her a favor, he should do it to the end. In the Rolls-Royce, Long was a bit formal, as it was his first time in such a nice car, and he was afraid that his clothes would dirty the car's leather sand. Qin Ming smiled at his newest general. He said, and Secretary Song will do all the entry formalities for you. You will have 1.8 million in your salary card. This is half a year's salary. As to what position you will take, it depends on Secretary Song's arrangement. And Long immediately said, and boss. And Song Ying at the side immediately reminded, and call the young master. And Long smiled sarcastically and said, and young master, in fact, I am only 30,000 a month at Sunshine Green Bird Credit Company. If it is double, my salary of 60,000 a month will be enough. And Qin Ming laughed. And what? You're still not happy with the extra money? I understand what you're thinking. I see that you are good at fighting. Tonight I happen to be in a bit of trouble. the other side are all tough characters who can fight with the real top soldiers. Are you confident? If you can win, you'll be worth the price. And Quat All Long straightened his back, curbed his lethargy and said with a straight face, And Quat, young master, don't worry. In terms of fighting, I'm not afraid of anyone in this world. I won't let you down. And Quat Qin Ming nodded secretly. He knew he had found a treasure this time. He looked back at Bai Yu Chun, who was still sleeping. Thanks to her too, fate was really so magical. The Rolls-Royce pulled up in front of the Cloud Peak Villa and a few maids took Bai Yu Chun inside to recuperate. Qin Ming looked at the time. It was almost 6 o'clock. He asked, And Quat, have they called yet? And Quat Song Ying was about to say no when her phone rang. Song Ying pressed the speakerphone and a rude and wild voice came from inside, saying, And Quat, secretary. Song, sorry, we have finally gotten everyone together. We have decided to choose Century Mansion as the venue for our dinner meeting with the young master, as it is our own place anyway, and the young master can come by helicopter, so we are not afraid of traffic jams. And Quat Song Ying's face was extremely bad. If it wasn't for Qin Ming being here, she would have cursed out. The time of 6 o'clock that Qin Ming had given for these people to give the gathering place, that was to be lenient to his subordinates, to give these people from the hunting team some choice, and also a hint. But as a result, these people only came to inform the place at 6 o'clock. It was really arrogant and rude. Qin Ming smiled slightly, took his mobile phone and said, And Quat, go by helicopter. You can't bring more people, and then I'll be a fish in your hands. Right, and Quat, and Quat. On the other side of the phone, the rude and wild voice slightly stalled. And Quat, you are. And Quat. Qin Ming said. And Quat, I am Chong Hongshi's righteous son, Qin Ming. I am now at the Cloud Peak Villa. I just happen to have recruited a team on my side, and I wanted to tell you about it at the dinner, but I couldn't make it at the moment, so it's the same now, so you can submit your resignation to Secretary Song. And Quat. As soon as Qin Ming hung up the phone, the 50 or so people in one of the halls of the Century building exploded into a frenzy. These people were older and younger. They were the Huan Yu Century Group, the hunting team within China that they belonged to. Because Chong Hongshi had given them the air that the future helmsman of Huan Yu was his righteous son Qin Ming, they wanted to come and meet their future boss. However, after a little enquiry, these people heard that Qin Ming was only a university student and had no special background, so they all thought they were highly qualified and had worked under Chong Hongshi in his early years, so they became arrogant towards Qin Ming. They had seen Chong Hongshi's sons and daughters before, all of whom were arrogant and domineering and uneducated, but how different was this Qin Ming? They reckoned that the so-called righteous son was just an illegitimate son. After all, Chong Hongshi had one wife on the surface, 3 sons and 2 daughters, which seemed too few to fit his status as a global tycoon, and it was no surprise that he secretly had illegitimate sons. Especially after these people had discussed the matter, they felt that Qin Ming was only the first illegitimate son, and that there would be more in the future. The most respected member of the hunting team, Xuanyuan Wu, took the lead and dragged the captains of the hunting teams from all over China to Guangzhou to meet Qin Ming. But they never expected that this Qin Ming would be so petty and just not come. And Quat. Outrageous, this brat, what does he take us for? We've come from all over the country. And Quat. Elder Zan, have we gone too far? I can hear the young master is more or less resentful. And Quat. Hey, how much resentment can he have? He just doesn't value us in Says something about finding a team of hearts and asking us to hand in our resignations? What does that mean? And quat, that's right, we've been working with Elder for many years and have done many unseen things for Elder to have such a solid group flourishing, and this brat comes up and unloads on us, and quat. After all, once a king's son, once a minister, we gave him a downward spiral, he doesn't want us anymore, and quat. Such a petty measure, won't it ruin the group that Elder Chang has built down, and quat, but he is still our boss after all, we work for him. And it is really not right to give him a downward spiral, and quat. The people here in the hall were each resentful, as they all felt that they had made a lot of merit for Huan Yu, only to have the young master treat them so slowly, which was abhorrent. As soon as Xuanyuan Wu raised his hand, the crowd gradually quieted down. After all, Xuanyuan Wu's seniority was the highest and it was easier to convince the crowd to speak. He said slowly, and quat, if we are really replaced, the situation of Huan Yu in China will be in chaos. But the young master has just started to take over. So I don't know if he'll really do that. Young people are impulsive, they don't think. And quat. Someone asked, and quat. Elder Zan, what should we do now? I say we run straight to the Cloud Peak Villa and ask the young master what he really wants. He'll probably be so scared that he'll hide behind that little woman Song Ying. Hey, and quat. Zan Yuan Wu said, and quat. We should definitely go, but we can't go in a big way, we have to go carefully, apologize to the young master, and see what he's capable of. No matter how much we despise him in our hearts, he is still Elder Chang's handpicked heir, and all our future money will have to be approved from his hands, and quat. Some people nodded and agreed, and quat. That's right, let's at least make sure that the teams in our divisions remain unchanged and the annual funding remains unchanged. We all have a lot of brothers under us, and a lot of expenses on all sides, so we can't get by without money all of a sudden, and quat. Zan Yuan Wu stood up and said, and quat. All right, I'll give Secretary Song another call, let's all contribute together. If we lower our stance so much and give him a step, this young master should also go along with it, and by then, we will have a head start in the meeting and won't lose out. And quat. The lights were bright in the luxurious villa at the top of Cloud Mountain, the highest of the large Pantai villas. Qin Ming sat at his desk, flipping through the annual financial reports of the Chinese assassination team, which basically failed to make ends meet and required annual allocations from the group. Because of the relative peace in China, the occasional arrest of wanted criminals or rummaging through evidence of business violations by large corporations did not make much money at all. Huan Yu has 18 hunting teams in China, and they have to invest 1 billion RMB every year. But if you don't keep these people, the team leaders responsible for managing the industries in the regions and provinces feel no threat to their lives, and once they turn against the group and go it alone or embezzle the group's property and flee, it's a loss for the group. It is a shocking force. And in general, where Chang Hongxi goes to China to talk business, these people do all kinds of security measures in the local area. Layers of security measures sit down, 100% to ensure that Chang Hongxi's life is not in danger. This is also a force of protection. Qin Ming knew that Zan Yuan Wu would definitely come tonight. He could not afford to lose this contest, and he set about preparing to meet Zan Yuan Wu. Chapter 29. At 7 p.m., a row of bulletproof luxury cars pulled up in front of the courtyard of the villa at the top of Cloud Hill. On either side of the villa stood a number of black-clad bodyguards, looking very warily at the limousines. The people who came down were all there. colleagues from the beginning, and although they were all their own people, the bodyguards knew in their hearts that there was a heavy smell of gunpowder tonight. Zhan Yuan Wu for the captains of the 18 hunting teams stood before the bronze doors of the courtyard. And Quat, HMPH. Knowing we would come and still cowering inside, this young master has a lot of guts. I, Money Leopard, despise him. And Quat, Money Leopard, the captain of the third team, said contemptuously. Team 4 Captain Bai Yuan laughed and said, and Quat, Leopard, curb your violent temper. It's possible that Elder Chong is also peeking in here. And Quat, at the mention of Chong Lao, that Money Leopard immediately shrank his neck and looked around. Was there another hidden camera somewhere, and was Chong Lao actually watching the live broadcast? Xuanyuan Wu walked forward and said to the bodyguard watching the door in Quat, Xuanyuan Wu and the captains of the hunting team are here to apologize to the young master. Please give us a chance to explain. And Quat, as soon as the words left his mouth, Qin Ming came out and said from afar, and Quat, Elder Zhan, if you want to resign, a notice will do. You don't need to come to me personally to say it. And Quat, Qin Ming came out, Song Ying on his left and Ah Long on his right. His face was calm. Although he did not have the powerful aura of Zhan Yuan Wu, he was still unperturbed by the changes. Zhan Yuan Wu and the others all took a step forward and looked at Qin Ming. After all, the Qin Ming in the photo was rather ordinary and plain, and also because of poverty, her face revealed a lack of confidence and confusion at that time. The current Qin Ming, on the other hand, already had a certain temperament and posture as a superior person, especially as he acted in a low profile and was good at hiding. This was a habit, and this habit made Zhan Yuan Wu, old journeymen who were used to seeing big scenes and had met many people, unable to see through Qin Ming, who gave them a feeling that they could not speculate. After all of them had looked at Qin Ming, Zhan Yuan Wu took the lead and said in unison, and Quat, greetings, young master. And Quat, Zhan Yuan Wu took another step forward and said, and Quat, this time we have come to pay our respects to young master, but we have delayed his daily plans because we did not have a unified location. Zhan Yuan Wu apologizes to young master. And Quat, Qin Ming smiled playfully and said, and Quat, you don't have to be polite, old Zhan, it's just a meal, I won't mind. Besides, soon you won't be part of my Huan Yu Century group anymore, so why be so polite? And Quat, the Money Leopard, was annoyed and suddenly crossed over to Zhan Yuan Wu and said, and Quat, I'm really angry with you. What do you mean by this strange tone? Old Chong is still here and you want to exclude dissidents? And Quat, as soon as Jin Qian Bao finished speaking, he was pulled back by the others. Qin Ming's heart was pleased. This reckless man, he came up and revealed his horse's foot. Qin Ming tilted his head and said in a low voice, and Quat, dissidents? Who are you calling a dissident, Jin Qian Bao? So, you guys are not on the same page as me? Aren't you all working for the group? And Quat, the golden Money Leopard open mouth, will not say. A moment for a moment is not easy to explain, but he understands in his head is the same thing. One day the Son of Heaven, one day the Minister, to take them all. Chong Hongshi, old days of the old ministry. Zhan Yuan Wu said badly, this young master is not as easy to fool as he thought, although young, but seems to have quite a city. Money Leopard. This reckless man was trapped. Qin Ming seized the opportunity to continue to take control of the conversation, said in Quat, I have read your information. 18 teams of hunting teams. The average age of each captain and vice captain is 40. The oldest one, Zhan Lao, has worked hard for the group all his life and has even stopped 3 bullets for my righteous father. How can I bear to let him work so hard? What's wrong with me arranging for old man Zahn's retirement? Could it be that I want you old and meritorious people to enjoy your lives well, that is excluding dissent, and quot? The crowd was silent for a while. The arrangement seemed quite good, the words made it impeccable, and for you to nitpick was to deliberately nitpick. But in reality, isn't it just asking you to surrender the power in your hands? But this is the art of language. The golden leopard said loudly again, and quot, bullshit, you are taking away power. Old man Zahn hasn't even said he's retiring yet. Besides, old man Zahn is old and I am only 35, am I big? What, do you mean you're sacking us all? If you don't make it clear, I won't commit, and quot, ha. Zahn Lao gave a slap to the past, hitting Money Leopard and immediately shutting up. Zahn Yuan. Wu smiled slightly and said in quot, young master, Money Leopard is a rough man, straight talking. I hope young master is generous and forgives him for this slip of the tongue. And quot, Qin Ming looked to the side of his body and laughed at Money Leopard and the other youngsters, and quot, you? In my eyes, you are not good enough. I am afraid that if I am in danger, none of you will be able to protect me. On the contrary, I have just found a man who has returned from the army. He is a good fighter and is also cheap, only 300,000 a month. After hearing this, All Long immediately stepped forward. The captains of the teams had darkened their faces, they were all at the mouth of the sword, living by the bullets. The work of escorting and hunting was full of danger. Each captain had a real skill, who could easily convince others, especially when Qin Ming openly mocked them for not being able to protect Qin Ming. This was a humiliation to their professionalism. Qin Ming could see the anger in the crowd's eyes and felt that the fire was not enough, so he had to continue to fan the flames. He also deliberately said in quot, the captains of Team 17, Team 13, Team 15, Team 8, Team 2 and Team 1 don't need to fight. After all, you are all over 50 years old, so I have to respect my seniors. And quot. With these words, the captains of the hunting teams completely exploded. The more Qin Ming belittled them, the harder it was for them to suppress their inner rage. But Qin Ming also had the strength, because Qin Ming had already tested All Long's strength again just now. All the first-tier domestic bodyguards in the villa, more than 20 of them in total, surrounded All Long at the same time, and All Long had beaten more than 20 of them in 5 minutes. Song Ying commented that All Long was no better than the captain of the hunting team, almost as good as her. But All Long modestly said that he hadn't really done it yet, and that he wasn't at his peak now as a soldier, and his strength had slipped a lot. Qin Ming was overjoyed at that moment. 1 fight against 20 was so easy. This was the rhythm of picking up a soldier king for nothing? Now Qin Ming let All Long compete with these people, just to kill their prestige and give them a downward spiral. How do you tame an unruly wild horse? Then you have to ride it underneath you, ride it to its heart's content. Zhan Yuan Wu and the others took a few steps back and gathered together to discuss countermeasures. Someone said with regret, and quot, this is a big deal, the young master is determined to drive us away. I should have known better than to be so rude in the first place. And quot. Others said, and quot, there's no point in talking about it. This young master is not as fancy as we thought, but rather calculating. If we can't take it, he'll have an excuse to use it as an excuse. And quot. Bai Yuan said and quot, that one called All Long. I don't think he's simple, he looks like an Avenger back from the battlefield. His aura, similar to some of the top special forces of Rice I used to see when I was a mercenary in Syria, very dangerous. And quat. The money leopard poo-pooed and quat. Damn it, it's just a fuck. I've never been afraid of anyone. And quat. Zhan Yuan Wu said in a deep voice and quat. Brothers, this is the young master's way of giving us a downward spiral. Since the young master has found a fighter, we have to take it. Close combat is the basic skill of every one of our hunting team. If we can't even win this, we will really lose face. Bai Yuan, you do it. We can all trust your skills. And quat. The crowd turned their heads to look at Bai Yuan at the same time. Bai Yuan was relatively young, only 27 years old, and was a disciple of the former captain of the 4th team, who had once worked as a mercenary, and had also served as a guard for some South American national leaders. Bai Yuan nodded and said, and quat, no problem. I'll do it, and quat. In front of the villa gate, the crowd gave way to an open space, and All Long and Bai Yuan were 10 paces apart, the two masters' eyes flashing with a cold aura. Chapter 30. Inside a conference room in a high-rise in Dubai, Chang Hongxi was hanging from a bottle, his eyes deeply sunken into his skeleton, but he was in quite good spirits as he watched the live projection. Wasn't the live broadcast about Qin Ming and Zhan Yuan Wu and the others battling it out in a tit-for-tat match at the entrance to the Cloud Peak Villa in Guangzhou, China? Chang Hongxi smiled and said to the old butler at the side. And quat. Uncle Duan, hey, where did this brat find an expert? He looks like he was a soldier. He probably has some experience. And quat. Uncle Duan smiled and said, and quat. This is probably the young master's chance. But the young master's choice to fight hard and conquer these people through hard means is a bit like you back then, master. And quat. Chang Hongxi laughed and said, and quat. Really? That proves I have a good eye. Hey, I like the good temper. But one must also have a temper to sit in my position to suppress that adulterous couple and those wild sons, HMPH. And quat. The entrance to the villa at the top of Cloud Mountain. Team 4 Captain Bai Yuan swung his fist, stepping on the inch and rushing towards All Long, throwing a tentative punch. All Long's eyes raised. Although it was a tentative punch from his opponent, he could see that Bai Yuan's punch was very strong and sharp, and he would be seriously injured if he wasn't careful. And quat. Good guy, ruthless character with 100 battles under his belt. And quat. All Long inwardly marveled. With the strength of his arm, he roughly shook off the tentative punch and grabbed it sideways with his crosshand, a military body bully punch, while he exposed an arm covered with scars. The captains exclaimed, and quat. Someone from the army. And quat. Bang, 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 bang. They could see that this All Long was a long-standing special warrior, not one of those ordinary war veterans. But instead of backing down and dodging, All Long fought hard, not losing in strength, pressing Bai Yuan's lower stance with faster speed, his legs flying fast and hard, counter-pressing with stronger speed. In a few moments, Bai Yuan failed to counterattack, and was even hit in the armpit by a punch from All Long, which immediately caused Bai Yuan to lose his right hand and stagger back as his body lost its weight. And quat. And quat. The captains and vice-captains of the hunting team exclaimed as Bai Yuan was battered and retreated wildly, finally falling to the ground. 10 minutes in and All Long was finished. After winning, All Long quietly retreated, giving the stage to Qin Ming. Qin Ming approached Bai Yuan and looked at him with a condescending stance. Bai Yuan was a little chagrined and ashamed that he had lost his annual salary of over $10 million a year within the group, with countless extra benefits. from conquering the sands, had lost to a new bodyguard who had just come in. Although the job of the hunting squad was not just to compete with people one-on-one, they all lived by fighting and would not make excuses for themselves. The crowd thought Qin Ming was about to taunt, but instead Qin Ming extended his hand to Bai Yuan, the captain of the fourth team. Bai Yuan was stunned and inexplicably touched in his heart. Finally, after a moment's hesitation, he reached over and stood up with Qin Ming's strength. Qin Ming then said, "And what? Now you believe me, right? I've read your profiles, and Bai Yuan is the most capable fighter among you, right? I have 7 or 8 others like all along who have not yet joined the team." And peeved, Song Ying couldn't help but raise the corners of her mouth to laugh when she heard Qin Ming bragging. Here, Qin Ming waved his hand indifferently and said, "And you don't have any merits and strengths either, so how can I keep you here?" And Zhan Yuan Wu and the others were speechless. Although they all knew that Qin Ming would use the victory of this competition as an excuse to wave, but losing is losing, and their rebuttal was very powerless because the other party was the boss. They thought that because Qin Ming was young, they would be defiant and disobedient, thinking that Qin Ming was easy to bully, but it turned out that although Qin Ming was young, he was also very shrewd and had the help of an expert, so they had miscalculated. The guys looked at me, and I looked at you, and knew that they had played a big game this time. One bad job would be lost, and all the brothers under them would not have to pay for their jobs, and they would have to work as security guards in the factory. And I don't like it. Who said I have no strengths? And Suddenly, the money leopard rushed out. Although he had a fat face, he was covered with muscles. His body was very strong. He said aggressively, and "Young master, if you fire us all, who will do your security work? If someone betrays you, if someone wants to assassinate you, who has to work for you?" And Qin Ming looked at the meeting and smiled. Just now he wanted to say that he didn't acknowledge him as the young master, but now he was acknowledging him as the young master? This money leopard also seemed to be less reckless than he thought and knew how to respond to the times. Song Ying said disdainfully, "And money leopard, there are others without you." And the money leopard hummed, "And I don't think so. We're in the business of losing our lives at any time. Are we as bold as the random people we find? As long as I'm eating, I'd be willing to take a bullet and fight with a knife for Chong Lao and the young master. I also took a knife for Chong Lao, and I have the scars to prove it." And the knife wound was an inch below the heart, which was very dangerous. "I dare say that no one in this world is more daring than I am. I dare say that no one in this world can be bolder than me. In our line of work, you can't do it without guts. If you don't have the guts, who would dare to block bullets for young master and elder Chong? Who would dare to block bullets for the young master and Chong? Sometimes we even have to eat the food first when we come across a hongmen banquet." Qin Ming laughed and said, "And guts? Gold leopard, you don't need others to compare with you. I'll just compare with you. If you have more guts than me, not only will I not fire you, I will even promote you." And the money leopard agreed and said, "And okay, young master, you draw the line. How do we compare?" And once they heard that Qin Ming wanted to compete with Money Pao for guts, the crowd was envious. And this money leopard is also thick but fine. He's caught his chance. And comparing with the young master? Isn't the young master still a student? What can he compare to? Money leopard, a big horse, is ahead of all of us this time. And I don't think so. The young master has given me a very mysterious feeling. Since he appeared, the young master is not a generalist. And what, Money Leopard can still be promoted? No way, I should have known I would jump out first. And what? Qin Ming smiled mysteriously, looked at the crowd and asked in what, has anyone brought a revolver? And what? Click. Click click. Immediately a bunch of vice captains pulled out their favorite guns. Qin Ming took one of the revolvers and it was slightly heavy. This was not the first time Qin Ming had held a gun. He had shot clay shotguns with his grandfather in the countryside before and had hit a roe deer when he went hunting in the mountains. Last year, during his sophomore year, at a badminton club evening event, he had performed a magic game using a prop revolver called Scare Russian Roulette. And just now, while he was waiting for Zhan Yuan Wu and the others to arrive, he had also asked Song Ying to take a revolver to him to familiarize him with the real gun once more. Qin Ming took the gun, pointed it at the ground and bang, 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 6 bullets went 5. The crowd had a bad feeling when they saw Qin Ming doing this, and the deputy who provided the revolver was so nervous that he kept wiping his sweat. Qin Ming opened the cartridge nest rotation. Look, suddenly with a hand clatter. Cartridge nest. Around the axis of rotation up. Then Qin Ming hand mentioned the revolver cartridge nest with the barrel of the gun together. The crowd had already guessed how Qin Ming was going to compare his guts, and Qianpao was already frozen in his expression. He finally had a whole new understanding of this young master. Qin Ming took the revolver and pointed it quickly at his head, saying, and what? This little game of guts is called Russian roulette, as I'm sure you all know. Since it's already started, you must play on. And what? As soon as the words left his mouth, Qin Ming was about to pull the trigger.